Hello everyone! Thanks for being here. I'm just letting everyone into the room. Let me know if you're having issues setting up your mic and your video. I'll give you a few seconds or a few minutes to set that up. In the meantime, thanks for being here. We will start momentarily. Alrighty. So just give me a thumbs up. If you don't know how to give the thumbs up during this session, this is pretty easy on Butter. On the left toolbar, you'll see some icons. The one that says react, click on it. You'll have options. To give a thumbs up, you can just click on the thumbs up. Awesome. Okay, cool. That means you guys can hear me. Amazing. Okay, and how many of you, is this your first time doing a design sprint? Give us a thumbs up if this is your first time. Awesome, very good. Okay, so for those of you that are a little bit new to a design sprint, this is a 2-weekender event. So we'll have one session today, another session tomorrow at the same time, and then another session on Saturday, June 3rd. So we'll walk you through every phase or every step of the process. And yeah, at the end, you'll get some feedback from a guest professional, Roli Khanna. She used to be a UX researcher at Microsoft. So that'd be super, super exciting. I hope you guys will definitely learn a lot from her, as well as what we're going to do today. We're going to allow people to join the room. Oh, wow, we have a lot of people joining us this session. So what we're going to do now is we're going to head over to the icebreaker. So for those of you that are a little bit unfamiliar with the controls of Miro, I'll just show you right now. These sticky notes can actually be edited. So what you could actually do is just pick a sticky note and write your name on it. And what we're going to do is play a game called Who Makes the Best Companion? And depending on whether you feel like you're on Team Dog or Team Cat, or maybe you're impartial, choose a team that you want to be a part of. And just simply like edit a sticky note, just double click on it and you'll be able to type in your name. After you're done that, just add it to the team bar up here. And what we're going to do is we're going to spend 10 minutes writing on sticky notes reasons why either dogs or cats are the best. So whether you're impartial or not, it's okay. This is just a fun little icebreaker game for you to learn how Mural works, as well as break the ice, get to know your team members and stuff like that. Okay, and just to make sure that we're doing it evenly, let's just say if Team Dog is full, I will randomly assign people to Team Cat, just so that we can make sure that everyone is equally split up into teams. But for now, if you want to call first dibs on that, go ahead. And if you guys are having trouble using Butter and you need some help with figuring out the icebreaker activity, feel free to use the chat, send us a text, or you can unmute your mic and just let us know if you need some help. Sounds good? Cool. So what I'm going to do is I am going to start the agenda. So we're going to spend 10 minutes on this icebreaker. So far on Team Dog we have Nathan and Sarah, and on Team Cat we have Aisha and Jessica. I know it says we have about like 7 or 8 people in the room, but if you guys are just joining us, feel free to double click on a sticky note here and put your name on it. And if you're not really familiar with how Mural works, it's okay, it's totally like intuitive. You could double click on sticky notes. If you want to make a new sticky note, you can go to the toolbar and click on the sticky note icon and you can make a new one. Okay, I think Kat has a question.
Yeah, sorry. Are we supposed to put our names at the top or under where it says Team Dog?
At the top.
Okay, got it. Thank you. Sorry.
No problem. And if there's no space for sticky notes, don't worry about that. You could also fill it up at the top here. We obviously know that this is Team Cat, so if you need more sticky notes to write ideas, I'm gonna make some for you right now. And for those of you that are new, that are joining into the session right now, we're doing a quick icebreaker. If you're unfamiliar with how Mural works, it's pretty intuitive and simple. First thing we need you to do is add your name to either Team Dog or Team Cat. What we're going to do in this icebreaker is talk about why dogs are amazing or why cats are amazing. So if you want to be on Team Dog, just go to the top here where it says team member name, double click on the sticky note and replace it with your name. And if you want to be on Team Cat, we have one spot available for Team Cat. Just write your select a sticky note, double click on it, and you can type in with your name. And then in the bottom section here, there's some free sticky notes where you could add reasons why you think cats make a better companion, or if dogs make a better companion. And we'll take it up at the end. And for those of you that just joined us, if you have any questions at all, or if you're confused, unmute your mic, ask a question, or you could use the text chat as well. Okay, let's see how many answers we have here. We have Kat, Neen, Nathan, Tala, Sarah, and Team Dog. So we should have about 5 sticky notes from you guys about reasons why Team Dog is the best. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 7. Okay, lots of ideas. And then Team Cat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Alrighty, so it looks like everyone has they've made their answers. So I'm gonna pause the music right now so that we could focus. We're just gonna go through Team Dog and find out why we think dogs are the best companion. So this sticky note says, Dogs are the best icebreakers. Hashtag see this icebreaker. Okay. I think maybe dogs are a good icebreaker, especially if you go into a party and you're kind of nervous and don't know what to say to people. The dog will be the focus of the party. Everyone loves dogs at parties. And then this sticky note here says, dogs are always happy to see you. Hashtag rough you. That's cute. And this one here says, keep each other accountable when it comes to going on walks. That's true. Dogs can make you want to exercise more. Dogs always want to go outside, and they always want to go outside with you. That's a very good observation. And this one here says, dogs win because my dog is the best little big dude in the world. Aw. Who made this sticky note?
That was me.
That was you? What type of dog breed do you have?
He's half husky and like quarter Australian cattle dog and American Eskimo dog.
Oh wow. Yeah, my boyfriend loves huskies. They're so beautiful.
Yeah, very high energy.
Yeah. That is awesome. And this sticky note here, master cuddle buddies. They are. They're so cuddly. I totally agree. And this sticky note here, they have routine. Excellent routine. And a little heart emoji. And this last sticky note here says they're personal security blankets. Absolutely. Dogs just love attention no matter what. They're amazing. And this section here for Team Cat, let's look at the sticky notes. Cats are independent and look cool. They definitely do look cool, and they are independent. And this one here says cats are fun to cuddle. And another sticky note here says cats are adorable, and cats are the king of the internet. True, cats do make great memes. I think dogs do great memes as well, but I think cats, with their reactions to things, it's quite wild and like spontaneous. Okay, so this is awesome. Thanks for sharing your sticky notes. Now it's kind of let's do a quick vote on the best answer from each team. So I'll just make some emojis here so that you guys can copy and paste them. Let me just quickly do that right now on Miro so that you guys know how to vote. We're gonna do dot voting, which is sort of like, using a dot to kind of represent which idea you like best. We'll just vote together as a team, like which sticky note is the best. So Team Dog, let's vote for like the best sticky note, and then Team Cat, you vote for the best sticky note. Just give me a second here. Stickers and emojis. Okay, so I'm gonna make this sticker a little bit smaller so that you guys can copy and paste it. There you go. And if you have problems with like seeing things on the frame, what could happen is if the layers are at a lower level, you just press the function button and up, or on desktop I think it is control up. Either way, if you ever come across that problem, that's how you can figure it out. But so far everything's looking good.
Votes do we have?
Just one vote.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so it looks like this is the winner. Dogs are always happy to see you, from Team Dog. And then for Team Cat, since there's only 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 actually, so we should see 3 votes here for Team Cat. Okay, well, this is pretty much the end of this icebreaker. So it looks like this is the winning sticky note for Team Cat. They are kings of memes. So, yeah, well done, guys. So on Team Dog, it's, they're always happy to see you. Dogs are super positive. And on Team Cat, cats are king of the internet. Well done. Alrighty, so let's move on to our next item on the agenda. Okay, so we're going to quickly introduce the facilitators. So I'm just going to pause our agenda for a second just to let you know who we are. My name is Melanie Hicks. I've been a freelance graphic designer and switched over to becoming a UX designer about a couple of years ago when I started this community called the Collective Studio. And I've been working with clients for almost 7 years. Worked with companies like Whirlpool, Spin Master, Scotiabank, and yeah, I'm based in Toronto. So I don't know how many of you are from Canada, but yeah, I'm Toronto. Team Toronto, awesome, shout out. And yeah, I'm also a facilitator for these design sprints. My co-facilitator, Claire, she should be joining us in this session. In fact, I don't see her here yet, so she might be joining us a little bit late. But she's based in the New York, New Jersey area, and she has, been a product designer freelance. She's worked with American Express, and she's also been helping me with like facilitating and running these events for the community as well. So if you want to follow her on Instagram, that's her Instagram handle, so definitely search her and find her. Or you could follow her on LinkedIn. You could click on this link here and follow her as well. You could also follow me on LinkedIn here as well if you want to, network and say hi. We're pretty open to messages or questions from people in our community. And also for your guest professional that's going to show up on the last session next week, Saturday, is going to be Roli Khanna. She's a UX researcher at Expedia Group, and she's also a former UX researcher at Microsoft. So definitely, if you have questions about careers and UX research and, insight on what it is to work in these kinds of fields, she could definitely help you out with that in the session that we have next Saturday. She'll also be looking at your UI design, so she'll give you some practical advice on how to improve not only your presentation, but also your UI skills. Okie dokie. And then this is also her link to follow her. So definitely follow her and, maybe potentially network with her. All right, so this is the next slide. For those of you that are not following us, make sure that you double click on my name. On Miro, at the top right-hand corner, there's a little bar with everyone's usernames or their little circles with their initials. Just double click on mine. My name is Melanie, so initial M you'll probably see. If you double click, you can actually follow my cursor. That way I don't lose you during the presentation. Okay, cool. Seems like we're following. Alright, so now we're on to this slide where it says Introduction to the Collective Studio. So what is the Collective Studio? We're a community that focuses on UX design education through collaborative design sprints such as this one. And we also host a lot of webinars on our Discord server where we invite guest professionals to talk about what it's like to work in the industry, what kind of skills you might need to use, and also some lessons that they've learned along the way that could also help you as well. So if you're not a member of our Discord server, definitely join us. If you want to follow us on LinkedIn, definitely join us on LinkedIn as well. Get updates about events coming up, as well as opportunities to network and talk to people within the industry on our server too. Okie dokie. Does anyone have any questions about that before I move on to the start of this challenge? Nope. Okay, cool. So we're going to go to the next slide or frame here, which is Introduction to Challenge, and it says, how might we? I'm just going to start the timer again so that we are not going to go over time. So the topic today is about pet ownership and how to do it responsibly. So our how might we statement is, how might we help new potential, let's just say, pet owners adopt pets responsibly? So what does that mean? Well, currently, let's look at the problem. Pet shelters have noticed a rise in pet surrenders at shelters due to people not having the ability to look after them anymore. And it's quite likely that during the pandemic, when people are, settling in lockdown, feeling a little bit lonely and isolated, they would go and adopt a pet to kind of, keep them company, as well as, have a little additional member to the family, let's say. And then after the lockdown, there was also an increase of people going from working from home to going back into the office and working extra long hours. So there has been like a dramatic rise in people giving up their pets back into shelters. And shelters are overwhelmed with people who are giving up their pets and they can no longer look after them. So there's plenty of articles that have shone a light on this issue. And I've come across this report, which is quoted right here, that there's actually been over like an 82.6% rise in surrenders from 2021 compared to 2022. So that's a pretty huge number. It is usual that people will give up their pets if they can no longer care for them for multiple reasons. That's kind of normal, but especially during the pandemic, it has gone up a bit slightly. And this is still a problem for shelters because what also happens is if pets aren't being adopted, they tend to be euthanized. So that is a sad thing. It's a tragic reality that a lot of pets that end up not being adopted, they will have a very short life. So this is why it's important. And for this design sprint, we're going to kind of suppose that we are a team of entrepreneurs slash designers, and we're going to build an app that's going to address this problem. Okay? So, with that being said, before we move on to talking about some of the reference points and our persona, do we have any questions about the topic, including the challenge? Nope? Okay. So, with that being said, let's go down to the bottom section here. So, if you follow my cursor, there's some more slides at the bottom here. So I'm going to show you guys these research links on this very bright blue slide. So we've actually done this design sprint before last year, and we have some articles about the nature of pet adoption before the pandemic or during the, well, not before the pandemic, but during lockdown. And this is sort of like a pretty good reference point if you want to learn a little bit more about the habits of people when they are looking for a pet. And then we also included some post-lockdown links as well to examine changes in people's behaviors and the reasons why people had to let go of their pets, or reasons why people are looking for a pet now, what they should be aware of when trying to adopt an animal. So these links are here just for your reference. So let's just say once we start getting into wireframing and developing your presentations for the next week, definitely try to look at some of these links to get a bit more background information to what the problem is in terms of what shelters are facing. For the sake of this type of design sprint, we're going to be focusing more on users, the end users that are going to be going to shelters. But this reference information can help you give context to say, hey, we're helping shelters and we're also helping people to find pets. So these links will help you to give a good sense of what we're dealing with. Unfortunately, for this sprint, we weren't able to interview as many people as we'd like to provide you with more context, but we do have a persona that we're ready to share with you, which is based on some user data that we've collected. So I'm going to move on to this slide here that says persona. And I need to ask a quick question. How many of you have heard of a persona or seen one? Just give me a thumbs up if you have okay, cool. Seems like most of you guys understand what a persona is. Okay, so personas are usually collected from user surveys or feedback that you get from one-on-one interviews. And in this case, we interviewed a person who we gave him a fictitious name. We're going to call this persona Pedro. And Pedro is a Twitch game streamer who lives in the city, and he kind of works from home. We've had a chat with this so-called Pedro, and we kind of realized that Pedro recently broke up with their partner, and they want to adopt a pet to keep him company. And Pedro has never really adopted a pet before, but is looking for like an easy way to learn how to be a smart pet owner. They want to be aware of what they're getting into, and obviously they're trying to figure out what's the best way of going about it. And there are some reasons why this user is either having problems in this experience. So in this persona, we talked to this person, and we got down to figuring out what some of their goals and frustrations are. And this information will kind of help you to build context for our next mapping exercises, just so that we frame things that we're trying to solve for the user as coming from a source of truth. So keep this in mind when we're doing other mapping exercises, that this persona Pedro is who we're building a product for. So some general information about Pedro is they're between 25 to 35 years old. Their career is they're a Twitch streamer, so they spend a lot of time on the computer, they work from home, so they have ample time to look after a pet. They're an Android user, and they're also a frequent phone user. So that's good things to know, because this will help you to figure out what kind of product we should be building. Okay, so the goals of Pedro are, let's look at this sticky note here. I'm just going to zoom in so I can see. They need to have a clear understanding of all the required documentation needed for the process. So they need to know if they're ready to adopt a pet, like what are the things that they should come prepared with when they go to a shelter to meet the animal. They need clear background of the animal, so they want to know more about the pets, like their age, their habits, why they are at the shelter possibly, how do they get there. They want to know the personal story of that pet, you know. And then another goal that they want to accomplish is they want to adopt within 1 to 2 months. So they're not in a rush, they're not in a hurry, they want to take their time, and they want to make sure that they're finding the right animal for them. And then this sticky note here says they want a smooth adoption process. So they don't want to have any bumps or unexpected problems coming along the way, which can happen with pet adoption. Is you might look at one pet and maybe, who knows, maybe a lot of people around in your area also want this pet, and then you find out they're not available. So that could also be very, very frustrating, and it could be a goal for some users to avoid unexpected problems like that. Frustrations for this user: lengthy background checks and verification. So it could be an issue where users are either over encumbered with details. So yes, this user wants to know what's expected, what kind of required documentation, but if the background process takes too long, that could definitely make them not want to either use your product or even go through the final process of actually adopting the pet. They want it to be easy and simple and fast. And then unsure of what breeds are available at the shelters. So if there's no update from the shelter as to whether animals are taken or not, or what kind of animals really are available, that could be an issue. And then another sticky note here is concerns about the distance of the shelter that carries the specific breeds that they want. So they need to make sure that the shelters that they are finding are relevant to their location. They don't want to be told, oh hey, there's a shelter 25 or 30 or 40 kilometers away from you. Maybe that's too far for you. If it's 100 miles away, that's definitely not going to be relevant to the user. So they might be very frustrated by that. And another frustration they have is they can't tell if the shelter is trustworthy. So there can be cases where there might be dubious business practices, either breeders selling pets. It could be a case of shelters not having a good reputation when it comes to hygiene, or even when it comes to the taking care of animals. So these are concerns that people might have before adopting a pet. Is this pet going to be malnourished and not well taken for before they take them home? And oh, it looks like Claire is here, so I'll let her in. Hey Claire, thanks for joining us. We're just gonna go through the personas. Alright, so apps used by this Pedro person. So they're on Twitch, so obviously they're going to be a Twitch user. They also use Google and Facebook because everyone's on it. And at the same time, these are products that this user is pretty well familiar with and are accustomed to. And same thing with Pet Finder, they probably used it before, and that's where they come up with some of these frustrations. This user has probably used Pet Finder in the past, and these are kind of the issues that they are facing when using it. So keeping that in mind when we are thinking about the user in terms of their problems and empathizing with what they're going through, when we're going to be building a solution for a a product for this particular persona, let's keep this persona in mind, okay? And this chart will be here all the time, so if you guys need a link to the mural board, I can give it to you. That way you could have this as a reference point when you're working on your high fidelity wireframes. So do we have any questions about Pedro? Or about personas in general? Nope? Okay, cool. Claire, can you hear us or can we hear you? Do you want to say hi?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Or at least I can.
Yeah, sorry. I was on another call. I got super busy, tied up, but I would just do a quick intro. Hey, sorry, I just hopped on late, but I'm the co-founder of the Collective Studio. I'm a UX professional. I'm currently the workshop lead at Dow Jones. I also am a freelance UX designer. Been doing UX for about 2.5 years now, I would say. So it's a really fun journey for me. Love doing it so much. And welcome you all joining us this weekend to learn more about UX and collaborate together. So again, shout if you have any questions.
Yep. Thank you very much, Claire. We're actually going to move on to the next part of the challenge, which is the 4Ws and 1H map. Do you feel comfortable explaining the activity?
Yeah, I can. Sorry, just give me 1 second. I'm kind of lost on the board right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we were talking about the personas, so we're at like the lower section of part 1.
Yeah, I think I found you guys. Yeah. So, if you all okay, let me just get to the area.
Yeah, quick question. How many of you have done this type of brainstorming map before? Sometimes it's called like the 5 Ws or the golden circle. Is anyone familiar with it? Give us a thumbs up if you're familiar, or thumbs down if you're not familiar. Okay, so it's like about 50-50. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to brainstorm together as a team. So I'll make this a little bit easier. I'll just copy and paste some sticky notes here so you guys have something to work on. What we're going to do is we're going to follow each question prompt and try to address what the question prompt is saying. So we'll have about like 1 or 2 minutes each for each section. And we're going to explore the reasons why users like Pedro are having the problem that they're having. So this first question prompt is why, and it says, why do potential pet owners want to adopt a pet? So Pedro, we already know a little bit about him. We could think about other reasons or other problems that users are trying to meet, or goals that they're trying to meet. And what we're going to do is section by section write down our ideas and then vote together as a team, section by section, which sticky note is like the most compelling. Okay, does that make sense? If you have any questions, feel free to ask now before we get started. No? Okay. So I'll read out every prompt, and Claire, can you help with either grouping the sticky notes or like creating some voting stickers or dots?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, cool. Alrighty. Okay, so for this one, why do potential pet owners want to adopt a pet? So just like what Simon Sinek has said, start with why, with your users, with anything that you're thinking about. Why do you think users like Pedro want to adopt a pet? What is missing in their lives that they need to have a pet in it? So we're going to spend 2 minutes thinking about this question prompt and writing an answer. If you don't know how to create a sticky note, it's pretty easy. You could just go to the toolbar and Miro on the left side, click on sticky note, and then you could actually double click on the sticky note, click and drag it, resize it, and add your text to it as well. Alrighty, and I think we should have a timer. Let me get a timer out so that we could, there we go. I'm gonna put 2 minutes on the timer. And it's gonna play some funky elevator music. So hope you don't mind. Okay, we got 10 seconds left. After 10 seconds, we'll move on to the next question prompt. Alrighty. Let's move on to the next question prompt. Same thing, so let's create a sticky note and address the next question prompt, which says, what do potential pet owners do to find a pet? So think about all the activities that a user could do to solve this problem of finding a pet. What are they doing? Or how are they searching? Or what are they, what are they doing? I don't want to make it confusing. But I'll start the timer again for 2 minutes. As a hint, you could think about maybe products that they might be using, digital products or stuff that they do offline, online. What are all the different actions? Okay, 30 seconds left. Okay, 5 seconds left. And on to the next one. When and where? When and where do potential pet owners go to find a pet? There's a little spelling mistake there, my apologies. but we need to think about when and where are users going to start finding the pet. Where does it happen? Does it happen at home? Does it happen during breaks at work? Where are they doing it? Are they doing it in a certain place? Are they doing it from home? Are they doing it on the go? Let's think about all the reasons and all the stuff that could be happening at that stage. I'm gonna put 1 minute because I was talking through it. 1 minute, 1 minute. And also keep in mind the context will be present day. So we're not in lockdown days, so we're going to be making a product that's going to be launched presently in present time. Hopefully we won't have another lockdown. 20 seconds left. Okay, on to the next one. The last part is how. How do pet owners adopt pets? How does this happen? We could think about digital solutions to help this happen, because that will be something that we will be concerned with as designers. How can we get a potential pet owner from not having a pet to getting one? What are the steps that we could do to make that happen? And I'll put the timer on for about 1 minute. Okay, we have 25 seconds left. Three, two, and one. So we're done. Wow, this is great. You guys produced a lot of answers in such a short amount of time. So now we're going to take this all up as a team. And what I will do is, actually Claire, can you help us with, oh, Claire says that Miro is lagging for her. Okay, that might be an issue. Okay, so I'll help you guys out here with clarifying stuff. So what we're going to do is we're going to group some of the sticky notes that are kind of like the same idea together so that we know that they're kind of the same. Oh, sorry, there's another message from Kat. It says, can we have a link to this board so that we can access through the week? Yes, we can. Absolutely. We'll share it in the chat and we'll also send you an email notification as well. Okay, so back to taking everything up as a team. So what I'll do is group some of these sticky notes together. Oh, it looks like Claire's on that, so that's fine. Thank you, Claire. And what we'll do is I'll read some sticky notes, and if we have any questions about your sticky notes, whether it's like not understood, we'll ask you to explain. And after we're done taking up the sticky notes, we're gonna vote once for which groups of sticky notes is the most compelling answer. So we know that with user research, we can't always have data to validate exactly what the problem is, but this kind of mapping exercise will help us to create an assumption. So based on all of our collective assumptions, we're going to vote for like the best assumption, or the assumption that seems most true. So this group here, why it is that people want to adopt pets. Some people say they want to have an active and healthy lifestyle. Maybe having a pet, like a dog, perhaps, might be helpful. And then another sticky note here that says emotional well-being. This one is a little bit different from the healthy, active lifestyle because one is more about physical activity and one is more about an emotional need. So I think I'll group it here with love because emotional well-being and love, they're both very much related. And then with loneliness, these groups of sticky notes, it says loneliness to improve mental health, combat loneliness. Yeah, sometimes people do seek pets to kind of, make their lives a little bit more fulfilled. So the loneliness and combat mental health is all in the group here. And then in this group here, to start a family, to deal with life challenges, impulsive choices. Who made this sticky note?
That was me.
Okay. Do you want to explain this sticky note so I could understand?
Yeah. Well, it's kind of a personal experience thing.
Mhm.
Like I got my dog, and I know other people who've adopted this way, where like I got my dog 7-8 years ago after I went through a breakup, and I was just like I was pissed off, so I just went to the shelter, and then I came home with my dog.
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes when you're like immediately, like, letting go of a relationship, it could feel like, oh, this is so uncomfortable. I have to like get away from that feeling of like dread or angst or anything. But yeah, that is an interesting point. It could be impulsive, but it also could be very much related to what people were talking about, either combating loneliness or mental health as well. So I think it's kind of related. I don't know if it's related for your situation, but do you feel as though that might be the case?
Yeah, I think it can definitely be related.
Okay. So I'm going to move it from to start a family to dealing with like loneliness and anxiety. And then this here for companionship, starting a family, uh, to get out of the house more, exercise. I'm going to put this sticky note over here. The exercise stuff can go in this cluster. To have more responsibility, it's also aligned with like starting a family. And then this one here, wants someone to take care of. I think the taking care of stuff is responsibility, but it is also love as well. But the act of taking care of someone could also be an expression of affection. So it's kind of like a bit of both. So maybe we should have it as its own category. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, let's keep it as its own category because it is quite complex. And this one here is he just lost his girlfriend, so he wants a companion. Yeah, so that's also part of like starting a family, having companionship, responsibility. All these things are kind of related. To teach responsibility to their kids. So if the person is single and not single, but like someone who has family or kids, they definitely that might be one of the reasons. So we're gonna put that down here as like responsibility and stuff. Okay, so we have group here, exercise, fitness, getting out more. Another group here about loneliness, anxiety. Another group here for emotion, love, and connection. Another grouping here for family. And one that's sticking out here as an outlier is wants to take care of someone, which it could be a bit of love and it could be a bit of responsibility, but we have it as its own category. So what we're going to do is dot voting. So we have these green dots. Just choose one for yourself and vote for one grouping of sticky notes that you think is the most compelling answer for you. So I'll give you guys like a minute to think about voting. Let me set up the timer. And Claire, how are you with Miro? Is everything okay?
Yeah, it's still laggy, but at least I can move around now. So I'm doing the third clustering right now.
Okay, thank you. So I think there's 8 of you, so we should have like 8 votes in total. If you guys are having issues finding the dots, they're just right here. I'll bring them up so that you can see them. Okay, we have 7 seconds left. Okay, time is up. So the winning grouping of sticky notes, let's have a look. Just double checking, this was a vote for this group. I noticed a dot here. Is it for the love and unconditional love group, or is it for the responsibility group? I'm not sure who made that vote. Either way, let's say 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. It looks like the loneliness group is won. So let's just copy and paste a sticky note here and put it as the winning sticky note at the bottom, and I'll rephrase it to oh yeah, let's say to combat loneliness. Oh, it looks like we have one person joining us back. Just give me a second. Okay, so it looks like Nathan is back. All right, so Nathan, we're on the mapping exercise. We're just voting and selecting the winning sticky notes. So for the Y section, it's to combat loneliness. We think that people are wanting to find a pet because they want to feel less lonely. So the next group here is the what. What do potential pet owners kind of have to do to find a pet? So we have a group here saying visiting local shelters, visiting and playing with different animals at the shelter. Another section here is research different breeds. So they're going to do research about animal traits and personalities. They're going to read books about different breeds. So they're getting information, Googling best breeds for their lifestyle. These are all pretty good activities that like users will consider. And then this other grouping here, before we start voting, I'll just explain the groupings of sticky notes so we know what our options are. Volunteering, dog sitting, getting a feel for having a pet, asking a friend where to go to get a pet, and then telling their friends what they should adopt. And then another grouping here is downloading and searching apps like Pet Finder, or use a mobile shelter app. Okay, so just to give you guys a bit of context, we're going to narrow down what we're going to focus on building as a team. So whilst Pet Finder are very good options, remember that we are, like, let's just say we're a startup and we're launching an app that's going to be focused on pets and pet adoption. So with that in mind, we're going to vote for what is the most compelling case for us to solve for the user, like a problem that we're going to really solve for the users. So are we going to help users to find shelters? Are we going to help them to do more research and to understand the responsibilities of looking after a pet? Or are we going to help them to either like connect with their friends and figure out what their friends are up to? So what do you think is the most compelling reason? We're going to give you about a minute to vote, and I'll set the timer. Just remember that the dots are right down here in this lower section. And just vote for the like winning sticky note group once. Okay, we have 25 seconds left. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, so that's it. No more voting. It looks like the clear winner is search for local shelters. So that is an activity that the user would definitely be doing with this type of platform that we're creating. So this doesn't need any more clarification. I think this is pretty simple. And now we're going to move on to the last section, which is when and where. So when is this happening, where it's happening. So we have one group here, which is, well, it says online, but it also says shelters here. So let's separate it from like online to in person. So shelters, visiting the breeder, when they hear on the news that there is an adoption event occurring near them. Okay, so it could be some kind of notification at adoption events they found online. I guess this could also be related to like external events. Actually, who made these sticky notes? These 2 sticky notes here. It could be 1 or 2 people, I'm not sure. If you're able to unmute, can you unmute and let us know what your ideas were for these sticky notes so that we can understand?
Yeah, so I think Nathan wrote that. Sorry to call you out because I didn't see you author. Nathan, do you want to explain a bit more for Melanie? They're both from Nathan, actually.
Okay. Yeah, I noticed that they were in and out. Maybe they're having connection issues. I'm gonna assume that this is an in-person thing. Maybe it was an event that they found this information. So I'm gonna group these 2 because it seems similar. And this one online on the animal mobile shelter application. So we're focusing on adoption, not so much sales, because they're 2 different activities. But I'll put them here as these are online activities. This one says, once they have a sense of stability, that could be a psychological thing, like how they think and feel. But when it comes to when and where, it's more immediate. It's more, where are they currently and how, like, where are they making these decisions? So it could be in the mind, yes, but it could be a physical thing where they're either in a physical space, like being at home, on the mobile phone. These are different activities. This one here, it says when they feel confident about their decisions. So I think I could move it here as these are emotional stuff, like emotional feelings. When they know exactly what kind of pet they want. I guess that's also a feeling as well, because it's more a decision that someone makes in their mind. And then this one is after doing lots of research. That could be a point of time that could be happening. That could be happening online, right? After doing lots of research. I'm assuming you mean after doing research online, because I think that's quite typical. And then impulsively, i.e. driving by a shelter and deciding to go in. So that's a physical experience. So we could say visiting a breeder or a shelter. At home, that's also a physical location. Let's just say the home life could be separate. And then after a big life change, these could also be emotional triggers as well. So let's just put it here. Sometimes it is important to think about the emotional state of people, because like when people feel a certain way, that could also trigger an action. And then when it comes to the where stuff, it could be happening anywhere. It could be happening at home. It could be happening online. Okay, so now that we have these groups together, oh wait, I think I didn't notice these sticky notes. When they have a break during the day, I wonder if this should be, I'm not sure. Break during the day. I'm not sure if this is a context of when and where. Like it could be a break during work. In this case of the persona, this person works from home. So I am assuming that it would be an at home kind of state. And then this one here is if they're working, probably on the weekend. Okay.
Those were like those were kind of like they would go to a shelter or yeah, those were kind of
Oh.
just at what wait I guess when they would when they had time to yeah I don't yeah that was the thought.
Okay, when they have break during the day to visit the shelter. Okay,
Yeah,
I understand that.
something like
Okay, that makes sense. Whoops. And this one here, when they are working probably on the weekend.
if they are working, I guess they would be doing their research either online or searching for their dog.
Okay, so this would be the online space. So online, but probably on the weekends when they're looking for a pet. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Alrighty, so let's vote. I'm gonna set the timer to 1 minute. And we're gonna vote once for a grouping of sticky notes that we think are the best. And if you're looking for the dots, it's just on the lower section here next to the when and where square. Okay, we have 10 seconds left. Okay, and we're done. So the winning group of sticky notes is the online, and likely between like our app or whatever product that we design, and probably as a means to help them do research. So we could try to articulate this sticky note so that it includes some of these ideas. So when and where is this happening? Online, let's say during the research stage. Okie dokie, and then we're gonna move on to the last one so that we could finish. We have 3 groups here. Oh, it seems like Kat has a question.
Hey,
Yeah.
so with the online during the research stage, would that be like inclusive of searching for specific pets or just like researching like, okay, what breed is right for me?
Well, with this persona, they want to know which breed is right for them, as well as shelters that are in their area. So it's a bit of
Okay.
both. So we could be broad with this statement so that we kind of target the user's problems in a way that's realistic. Because obviously, users that are looking for shelters aren't just looking just for the location. They also want to know what pets are available and more details about those pets. But I think this would be like a pretty broad way of explaining that. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Okay, cool. Okay, last section is how do potential pet owners adopt pets? Like, how does this happen? We have one group here that says checking on the gallery, read a detailed background of the dog's history, which could be part of the research phase. And then users can filter out pets based on search. Those are cool ideas. Checking the condition or the personality of the pet. They could view photos and videos online. And then another group here is lengthy paperwork, gathering information and documents required for the website. And this one says pre-evocation online and app. I'm not sure what that means. I'm not sure if I read it right. Apologies.
Like pre-verification.
Oh, pre-verification. Okay, got
Yeah.
it. Yeah, sorry. My eyes
That's
are...
okay.
Yeah, okay, and this one here is regular updates online for if pets are pending adoption and maybe not available soon. Online adoption platforms such as pet finders, adopt a pet, or local shelter websites. They can successfully adopt a pet on a mobile sales app, okay? And they use a platform searchable database of available pets and rescues in the area. This is sort of similar to what we saw here, which is like specifically talking about dog breeds and referencing them. And this one says trial or foster adoption programs. Okay. So we have a bunch of groups of sticky notes here. So this grouping here is either the user is going to go to the shelter and finish the application process, or it could be done online. That's what I'm getting. So if it says online adoption platforms, then we are that platform and that's what we're creating. So if we're creating that connection between shelters, then that's what we should be focused on. And in this section here, after the paperwork and documentation, there's some paperwork that's involved in order to make this happen. And then this group, this is more or less the research phase, which could be part of how someone may make an adoption. But we're going to spend 1 minute now thinking about that and thinking about what is most likely true for the users. And this will help us to understand what we're building as well. So I'm going to give you guys like a minute to do that, and we'll jump right in. Okay, we got 18 seconds left. Okay, so time is up, and we're going to take up the votes together. So it looks like the winning group is the having some kind of comprehensive profile for the dogs, and looking up different dog breeds. So I am going to add this sticky note here and kind of rephrase it so that we can understand it better. So how is this going to work? So I'm gonna share my ideas. When it comes to how we're going to make a platform work, we also should consider the steps involved in making that happen for the user. So for the case of our platform, we agree that focusing on the profile and the unique features of the dog is important. And then we also need to be concerned about how it is that people are going to actually go and adopt the pet. It seems here that we're going to be displaying information about the pets, and that's going to help people to potentially go to a shelter and actually make that final transaction. So maybe that's what we're focusing on here with these groupings of sticky notes. So I'm going to explain it as, let's just say, by making a comprehensive pet profile. Whoops, I spelled that wrong. Comprehensive. Okay. So hopefully that will make sense. Does anyone have any questions so far about this mapping exercise?
I do.
Yeah.
So with the one that got the most votes, does that answer the question of how potential pet owners adopt pets?
Well, that would be a question that I would have to give to you guys. Do you think that this is the right decision? Is this how we should be approaching this problem? Because when you are doing these types of mapping exercises, it's important to think very consciously about what the user might be going through. And when it comes to joining together as a team to focus on what we think is the best idea, we should be voting with a sense of we think that this is the most compelling reason why the users are having the problem, and this is the most compelling solution that we could also give for them. So, yes, everyone voted for these groupings of sticky notes, and that's what I'm taking from this experiment is that you guys want to focus on solving a problem in this kind of way. So we're creating a comprehensive pet profile, which based on these groupings of sticky notes, it seems like people are talking about the background details and information about the pet itself. We think that that's going to help people to eventually adopt a pet. So does that answer the question? Or do you have more questions about that?
It does answer the question. I just I understand the voting system. It just feels like that's more answering the question and like just adding on to the research stage that we answered in the when and where question is why I was a little hung up on that.
Yeah, that's true. It does seem like a bit of a repeat. So for those of you that did vote, would you like to maybe explain your rationale before voting for the grouping of sticky notes that you did? Actually, I need to ask, who voted for the groupings of sticky notes that were highly voted? Feel free to chime in. We are a little bit over time for this. Yeah, sorry?
Yeah, no, sorry. I'm just gonna chime in here. I guess the only one thing I was wondering is like, I know we all voted. I'm just gonna point out for the whys, right? So if we're looking from like a product building design perspective, coming back to loneliness is not something that we can help solve the problem for the user. So maybe we can think a bit more in terms of like, what are they struggling? Are they struggling matching with the right kind of like animals at the shelters? Are they struggling finding the right shelter, like that's like within the distance? Or are they struggling trying to figure out how to even get started with the process, right? So we have to think a bit more concrete in that perspective. So I don't know if that like helps any one of you to kind of reconsider how we can approach like solving this problem for Pedro ultimately.
Absolutely, I totally agree.
Hear anyone?
Yeah. We encourage you to open up and also explain your rationale for choosing so that we can get a chance to really understand what you guys are thinking.
Do you want explanations for why I chose the online adoption platforms, like the one that didn't get chosen? Do you want an explanation for that, or are you just looking for explanations for the one that was selected right now?
Yeah, I want to hear from everyone else that voted.
Okay.
I understand that we are a little bit over time, so I don't want to put anyone on the spot.
I think that the one group from the left that was the winning group, I think it entailed a lot of different things like online research and about the breed and video, and it just kind of represented most likely how it would be done, how Pedro would. It had more than the other groupings, I think, is what it was for me.
Yeah, there's a broad range of ideas, and yes, some of them do sound like a repeat of the research stuff, which is when and where this would happen. Like, it's going to explain for us in this point how users are going to navigate our product. They're going to do research about shelters and pets through the app. But when it comes to completing it and actually coming home with a pet, we're trying to address how does that happen.
Yeah, I kind of figured that the bottom one would be the online, would also be part of the application as well. But I don't know. I'm sorry, I'm not able to read all of them better.
No, that's okay. Let me just kind of like clear the space a bit, right? So when you're looking into the when and where, you want to kind of dive deeper into the needs of Pedro. Like it's not just like, oh, it's just online, right? But it's like when something, what is the time that like it's gonna cause him to want to do a bit more research about what is the breed that he's looking for, and then where in place that he is, you doing this research on his phone, on the computer, at a friend's like dinner party, right? Like kind of think deeper on the persona perspective, and then think more on the product perspective, as in how can we help him navigate that on this journey.
Or you know
And
what?
I know it's
Sorry,
yeah.
I don't mean to interrupt, Claire. It is also quite possible that if someone has not ever adopted a pet before, they may not know how the process works. So maybe we can make an executive decision here, and we can change the final sticky note to something that is a little bit aligned with what Pedro might be going for. So, Claire, do you have like a suggestion of how we could rephrase this last sticky note for the house section?
To me, I feel like Pedro, it sounds like he's struggling with the pre-verification and the lengthy, like the link background check,
Mm-hmm.
and also like matching with the right breed, right? So I feel like these are the top three. And then I think in terms of forming a hypothesis, like we can also sort of like just like combine it like together in a way. How can we streamline the adopting process for Pedro without overcomplicating the verification process
Right.
while ensuring he is getting the information that he needs to onboard him and carry on forward so he can adopt successfully within a short period of time? That's something that I would suggest.
Yeah, so to rephrase this, we could change it to perhaps the application could be within the app itself. So he could send an application saying, I want this dog, send it to the shelter. The shelter will verify it and say, yes, you can come in, view the pet, and then we'll finish the process from there. So we could think about it like that. So we could think about it as, let's just say, a pre application process to send to shelters. Okay. So that will help address that problem of what documents does he need. He could know that as he's filling out the application, and then find out from the shelter whether they've actually responded and they actually agree to do the adoption with him. That's an idea, but like let's just say for the sake of clarity and moving forward, we'll just go with that assumption. Okay, so we're glad that we had that kind of like conversation, because sometimes it can happen during sprints where there might be unclarity of what should happen next. But it's totally okay, because not all the time we're totally familiar with how a process works. But this is also a good opportunity for you to do a bit of research now, so that when you're building your wireframes, that you'll have a better understanding of what the adoption cycle is really like. So now for our hypothesis, we're going to take the sticky notes that we voted and kind of ad lib them in different sections. So we're going to put the what section here. So where's the sticky note for what? It's the second one, right? So the second one would go here. And it says, we believe pet owners will want to search for local shelters, okay, at times when, and we're going to insert our when and where sticky note, which was, I think, the next one after that, this one. It says online during the research stage by, and we're going to put the how right there, thank you, by creating a pre-application process to send to shelters so that they can combat loneliness with a new pet companion. So this is our hypothesis for what we're building. And we're just going to keep these sections here just so that you guys know how we built up this assumption. This is important to do when you're leading with an assumption that, especially with user research, you could disprove or prove whether this hypothesis is real or not, or it's affecting your users, by just keeping note of what it is that you're trying to validate, the reasons why, and how it's done. And you could easily find out through usability tests and interviews from your users to figure out whether or not you're actually successfully developing developing a solution that addresses their problem. Okie dokes. So does anyone have any questions about that in terms of how we did this mapping exercise and how it's led us to this hypothesis? Are we all clear on this? Give us a thumbs up if you're clear. Or if it's kind of fuzzy, ask some questions. Okay, it seems like we're all clear. Fantastic. Alrighty, so we don't want to hold you up, but we have a 5-minute break. So in 5 minutes, we're going to come back here, take a break, stretch, go to the washroom, whatever it is that you need to do. And we'll play some music in the background. And as soon as we're back, we'll be jumping to our next activity. Whoops. Okie dokie. Alright, we're back. We're back. And I'm just setting up our next activity to account for the amount of people that were here. We're gonna do brainwriting. And in this activity, I'm just setting up the sections so that we have enough people to participate. Usually this would be a breakout group, but for this case, we could all take up the answers together, seeing as it's a very small team today. So we're gonna ask 4 participants from, let's get 4 participants on breakout group 1. So we have about 4 sticky notes here, and we need 4 people to assign themselves a sticky note on the breakout group 1 section. And then on the breakout group 2, we'll have another section for 4 more people. I think we have about like 8 people here. I'm not sure who is still active. There's some people who might come off and online. But definitely self-assign yourself a sticky note, and we'll take it from there. So we have a yellow sticky note here that needs to be occupied on group 1. Anyone want to assign themselves a sticky note for group 1? We have 1 yellow sticky note here. And then for group 2, can we get 3 more people? So we have Sarah, Aisha, Kat, Nathan. You have Jessica on breakout group 2. You have Tala, okay, thank you. So we have Joyce on the pink sticky note. Is there anyone else joining us for group 2? We have 1 sticky note left. Before we start brainwriting, we need to make sure that we have all the sticky notes occupied. So we have about 8 people in this session that are joining us. We have 1 person left that hasn't assigned themselves. We have a sticky note, an orange one on breakout group 2 that should be assigned to them. Okay. You have a question, Kat?
Not a question. There's 5 people in group 1 right now.
1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 here actually. So
Down here on the
yeah.
third row.
So the way that this is gonna work, I'm gonna have you go to group 2, and I'm gonna put your name in the participant 3 spot. How this is gonna work is everyone is assigned a color. So we only have like sections here for each and every participant. And how brainwriting works is like this. It's a brainstorming exercise to help you to come up with different ideas. And what we're going to do is you're going to use a yellow sticky note here. For example, Sarah, you're going to have an idea for how we're going to design a pet adoption app for Pedro. So based on what we kind of talked about with our hypothesis, we're trying to think about app solutions. So we might think about features or the way that the app works that could help Pedro to solve the problem of loneliness. And also address some of his goals as well in terms of, you know, how he wants to look for pets and what kind of breeds that he's looking for. So you could, let's just say, write an idea or a suggestion within a minute on your yellow sticky note, Sarah. And then what will happen is each and every person will do the same on their own colored sticky note on the row beneath them. That's why it says idea 1, idea 2, idea 3. Everyone's going to share an idea on their sticky note. And what we're going to do is we're going to go to the next row, and you'll notice that the combination of sticky notes are going to change. So for example, Oh wait, there's a mistake here. I need to change it. So there's purple sticky notes here, and it shouldn't be there. So I'm going to change it so that it's only showing the colors that are part of the group. What you're going to do now is on the second row, let's just say Nathan, you're going to look at Sarah's sticky note that she would have written an idea. And what you're going to do is directly innovate her idea. So once she puts an idea here, you're going to innovate it and change something that she has written. And same thing for Sarah, you're going to look at Aisha's sticky note idea above you, and then you're going to innovate her idea. And same thing for Kat. Aisha, you're going to look at Kat's idea, you're going to innovate it. And it goes on and on and on until we all kind of come up with completely new and different ideas. Does that make sense? We could go through it very slowly just so that we get the hang of it, but that's basically how that works. And then same thing for breakout group 2. Same thing of what I said. You're going to be editing your own colored sticky notes, and you're going to be improving and innovating the idea above it. So Jessica, you're going to be making your first idea. Same thing with Tala, Ni, and Joyce. And then once you get on the second row where your sticky notes are going to change place, Joyce, you're going to be innovating Jessica's idea. And then Jessica, you're going to be innovating Tala's idea, and so on and so forth until we finish the whole activity. All right, so does that make sense to you guys? Or if you guys have questions, feel free to jump out.
I have a question.
Sure.
So, say, Joyce will innovate Jessica idea, and then the next one is mine, the orange note. Would I innovate Jessica idea or the one right above me, which is
Oh,
Joyce?
yeah. So if you're going down to like the third row, Ni, you're going to be innovating Joyce's idea. So it would be a mix and a combination of what she has responded to by Jessica. So it's sort of like a chain reaction of like, we're all going to be changing and editing each other's ideas, and we'll end up coming up with new ideas as a result. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So whatever row of sticky note that you're in, just look at the sticky note above, read it, and then try to change or maybe innovate the idea a little bit. Okay? So we're going to do it very slowly. We're going to start timing brain writing. We might cut it a little bit short so that we don't go over time, but we'll take it, let's just say, 1 or 2 minutes for each row. So for the first row, actually, Claire, can you help with timing? Can you set a timer for 2 minutes? Okay, so once we have the timer started for 2 minutes, we're going to focus on the first row of sticky notes, and we're going to be thinking about ideas of how we can design a product to fit Pedro's needs. It could be a feature, it could be anything that is pertaining to the application and how it's going to help solve Pedro's problems. Okie dokie. So Claire, do you have the timer ready?
Yeah, it's just lagging really bad.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, starting now. You're going to be focusing on your sticky note in the first row. Try to keep your answers and ideas concise so that it will be easier for the next person to add to it. And before you jump ahead, we're going to wait until everyone's finished their responses, and then we're going to move on to the next row. So avoid jumping to the next row because we want to make sure that everyone has finished writing their sticky notes for the first row. So we have about 50 seconds. It kind of looks like everyone's kind of finished. So Claire, for the next, let's stop the timer and start again for the next row, and let's keep it to 1 minute instead. Okay. So let's start on the second row. So you're going to be innovating the sticky note directly above it. And remember to stay on the same color that you have for your name throughout the rest of this activity. So Nathan, you'll be responding to Sarah's sticky note. Sarah, you'll be looking at Aisha. And Aisha, you're going to be looking at Kat's idea. And then Kat, you're going to be looking at Nathan's idea above. Okay? And let's go. Might have to restart the timer again. Alright. So starting now, let's do that.
Nobody has mine quit. Mine is yellow.
Pardon me?
Oh, sorry. I couldn't get to my post-its. I think I can now.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, 23 seconds left. Ten seconds left. Okay, time is up. Don't worry if you didn't finish. Just try to keep your ideas short and concise. That way it's easier for other people to innovate your idea. Okay, so the next row, it's going to be the third row, or actually the fourth row. You're going to be responding to the sticky note right above it and innovate that idea. So if someone lists an idea, try to think of a way that you could change it or add to it. Actually, let's start the timer now. Thank you, Claire. Okay, we got 10 seconds left. Okay, time is up. Make sure you finish your sticky notes, and we're gonna go to the last row. Okay, let's set the timer again, please. Okay, we got 12 seconds. Remember to read the sticky note above and innovate it. Okay, time is up. Thank you guys for doing this exercise. Hopefully it wasn't too confusing. I'm gonna stop the music for a second. Brainwriting is pretty fun. It's a great way to brainstorm, especially if you're stuck. helps us to think outside the box and also to kind of reiterate on other people's ideas and make it even better as we go. So for this section, we're going to try to prioritize all the sticky notes that we came together as a team. So Claire, we should do a breakout session, and you could look after maybe group number 2, and I can help facilitate group number 1. And I think within 10 minutes we should be able to kind of prioritize all the sticky notes that we have here as a team. So if anyone has not been familiar with like impact and effort, this is just a way for teams to strategically figure out which kind of app solutions are either the easiest to implement or maybe more difficult to implement, and what kind of impact it has in terms of, does it really address the user's problems and does it help them to achieve their goals? So just like what Claire has said before, let's keep in mind the persona when we're making these kind of decisions, and also be considerate of how other people on a team, whether it's developers or other designers, are going to be able to design that kind of solution. So what I'll do is I'll set up a breakout session. It's our first time doing breakout sessions on Butter, so apologies if things are not working out. Claire, you're ready to participate? Like, you have your mic functionality working, everything's displaying properly on Miro for you? Sorry, can you say that again?
No, I'm just waiting for you to send me the
Okay, cool. So let me get out the breakout session so that we could get ready. Yeah, so let's assign people to rooms. I'm just working on dragging our participants into the right rooms. Okay. Actually, I can't see you here, Claire. I'm not sure if I can. Okay, there we go. I can see you. I'll just add you to group 2. And I'll be in group 1. Just give us a second while we set up the breakout groups. Okay, can everyone hear me? Okay, cool. So I'm just starting up the Miro board again. Thanks for being so patient with us. It's our first time doing breakout groups. Okay, so we have about 10 minutes to reorganize and sort some of these sticky notes here that we brainstormed together. So I'm going to quickly go through the first row, and we could start trying to arrange them on the matrix on the right side, okay? So we have here a questionnaire to understand the user's pet needs, and adoption events feature. And then another one here that says pre-verification process, so Pedro knows whether he qualifies to get a specific dog. Okay. And then implement trust and credibility indicators within the adoption platform. Okay. So I like some of these ideas right off the bat. So this one here about implementing trust and credibility indicators within the adoption platform. So based on what we've kind of discussed about the persona, one of the key goals for Pedro is to kind of get all this documentation prepared in advance, but as well, he wants a seam and smooth process. So I think having some credibility and trust in the app is going to help him to see which shelters are really going to be relevant to him, and also in terms of location as well as whether they're trustworthy. So that trust is what he's looking for. So having some kind of trust and credibility indicators within the adoption platform could help actually address this problem. So based on this alone, how do we feel about this being high impact for the user? Like, do we think that this is really going to help Pedro to successfully adopt a pet? Yeah, most of us are pretty agreeable about that. Okay. Now, when it comes to the effort it takes to develop this kind of feature, how can we develop this feature in a way that's like, or rather, let's ask the question like this. Do you think this type of feature would be very difficult for designers and developers to make? Because when it comes to credibility scores, we could think of it like this. When it comes to ranking in terms of users, let's just say rating or judging a shelter, that could help the user find out whether people who have already had experience adopting with that shelter see them as being credible and they do everything right. So that's definitely something that is going to be really valuable and something that we could actually do that won't be too difficult to implement. So we could put it in the kind of like in the middle here of best and better, and it's also high impact. Okay, so let's look down the other suggestions here. Questionnaire to understand the user's pet needs. Sarah, you made this sticky note. Do you want to explain your idea a little bit?
Yeah, so I meant kind of like when you start the process, I noticed that while I was doing it, a lot of adoption kind of sites, they have a questionnaire that you can fill out.
Mm-hmm.
For example, they ask like, oh, do you have any pets currently at home? Or what are you looking for in terms of breeds, or, gender, type of question to get to know the user and kind of match them with a potential pet.
Okay. I think this is really helpful, and I'm just going to chime in and say what I think about this idea. I think this is really helpful for the user because we could easily make a matching algorithm, and dependent on certain categories of breeds, we can make recommended suggestions of different types of dogs that they might actually like or want. It may not be based on pet availability, but it would help educate the user. So I think this addresses some of Pedro's problems, which is he wants to find a pet, but he kind of wants to know what pet is going to be right for him. And this is something that we could definitely build, and it doesn't have to be too complicated. It's just asking for information from the users to input into a quiz. So yeah, I think this is gonna belong in maybe the best area. And then let's look at some other sticky notes here. Adoption events feature, pre-verification process. So Pedro knows whether he qualifies to get a specific dog. So Kat made this sticky note. This sounds pretty self-explanatory. With pre-verification though, I think the shelter needs kind of like basic information from the user, like their name, their address, maybe potentially if they have a job or not. I don't know if that's a requirement, but you could do research if we were to do this for real. Do research with multiple different shelters and find out what kind of information they require. That way when they join the platform, they could have a service that's going to be adapted to their needs as well. So this is something that I think would be a benefit for both shelters and people looking for pets, that they could just jump through the process instead of going through a bunch of paperwork, do everything digitally. So I think this would be in the kind of best, kind of like high impact and low effort in terms of it's not going to require us like to hire a team of developers to come up with a completely unique system that is very complicated. So I think this is a very good idea as well. Okay, so now we're going to go down the next row. I know we only have a few minutes left, so we may not have time to go through all the sticky notes, but we're going to look at some of the best ones here. Creating personalized recommendations and tailored pet profiles. I like this idea. I'm going to put that there as our short list. Show nearby adoption events. And then pre-verification questionnaire. We kind of have that idea already. Allow people who have experience with specific shelters to write reviews and testimonials. That's kind of like what I mentioned earlier, so definitely let's put that there. Onboarding process that asks lifestyle questions, and then show the best pet matches for users. This is also a great idea. Location-based searches with interactive maps and directions. That's awesome. And then pet background check compatibility. It could be something that we could do for a user profile if they've done a matching test, is we could actually save and store their answers so that when they're looking at pets, they could get like a recommendation. Like, this is a good match for you because it's kind of reflecting what you have recently submitted. This is a good idea as well. Success stories to build trust. Totally good idea. And then filter features or saved features to select from certain types of pet breeds. Okay, so sort of like what I said before about saving the quiz as well, but there could also be saved searches or saved filters so that it was a shortcut for users to make better decisions faster. So this is also a great idea too. And then feature, what to showcase. Feature to showcase what pets will be present at adoption events. That could be useful to users if that is something relevant to their location. Qualification criteria and real-time feedback with guidance and resources. Awesome. And then rating of these features as well. Okay, so these are our short list of our sticky notes. And apologies that I have to rush through this. It's more like I'm trying to help you guys to organize the best ideas so that we could focus on these when developing a wireframe for next week or tomorrow, really. Okay, so qualification and criteria and real-time feedback with guidance and resources. So how this could work is we could have like a database of articles and stuff like that are related based on keywords. So whenever users are... Oh wait, this is for qualification criteria. Oh, this is for the pre-application. If I'm understanding this correctly. So Nathan, you made this sticky note, right?
Yes. So my thoughts there were, Pedro's persona. He's never had a pet before and is looking for an easy way to learn to be a smart pet owner. I think that could kind of like resolve that issue, or be a solution for it.
Yeah.
Give some like guidance, resources, and maybe trying to answer like two separate things there.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, so for this is a really interesting idea because if they get a rejection, at least they have an understanding of why, and maybe that will inform them on making better decisions later when they're trying to adopt from a certain type of shelter, or maybe a certain type of breed as well. Okay, I'm gonna put this in between best and better, just for the sake of just kind of moving through this activity as quickly as we can. Rating feature for shelters. So this is going to help with Pedro's desire to find a trustworthy shelter. So we should put that in maybe the best area because this is kind of related to his needs. And it's not going to be too hard for us to implement either. And then creating personalized recommendations tailored to a pet profile. Yeah, so this is great as well, but I'm trying to think quickly of when or like how difficult this would be to implement. Personalized recommendations. So for
I think
things to
they're
be
about
personalized, we
hybrid.
have to have user data being put in, right? So we would have to
Yeah.
create like a dashboard um, that would actually contain some data about the user in terms of their habits and their behaviors. I think this would take a little bit more time to figure out because it wouldn't be as simple to implement. But sorry, I didn't mean to jump over. Do you want to add something, Nathan?
Oh no, I was just saying. I think you're going in the right direction with, hitting, yeah, where you're at with it right now. Kind of it'd be a high effort thing.
Yeah, a little bit high effort. Okay. And then this one here. Filter feature for saved features to select from certain types of pet breed. So filtering search results wouldn't be that difficult. Saving the features would be based on past user behavior. So I am not a developer, however, I see this as not being as complicated. And I don't think a user needs to have a dashboard to kind of save like previous history. It could be collected from cookies as well. But I'm just going to leave it maybe in the middle for now because it might change later. We might discover that maybe that's not the case. All right, so I think we're going over by 2 minutes, but I think we have a couple of minutes left. Let's think about narrowing down our options here. Background check, pet compatibility. And then location-based searches with interactive maps and directions. So this one's new. I think this is very easy because with app integrations like Google Maps, it's easy just to get some basic information about the location and have it displayed through Google Maps. And when it comes to directions, the user could easily be redirected to either their Google Apps or Google Maps apps or whatever app that they choose to kind of find the directions. So the fact that that could be done very easily, I'm going to put that there. And then what else? Allow people to have experience with specific shelters to write reviews and testimonials. Still important to this user because they want to see credibility. I don't think it will be that hard to implement, but I'll just put it in the middle for now. And then feature to showcase what pets will be present at adoption events, success stories to build trust, and then onboarding process that asks lifestyle questions. Okay, so these are all kind of repeat of the feedback survey or the questionnaire. So I'm gonna group them in the same area because they more or less extend to what that idea is about. And then showcasing stories to build trust. It's better. It's not going to be as high effort, but I would say maybe it's sort of like in the middle. Just because building up credibility could be done through articles. And let's just say if we are displaying articles to the user, that may not be the only thing that they're looking at in order to make a decision. But we'll consider that as well. Anywho, we're over time, and I'm pretty sure the other group is going to be waiting for us. But let's just go back and take everything up together as a team so that we can move forward to the next part of this design sprint. Sorry that we had to cut everything short, but thanks for contributing. Alright, so did that work? Oops. Okay, let's do end breakout. There we go. Got it.
Lost access to my group.
Okay, are we all here?
No, we were not finished, and then I lost access. Oh, here it is.
That's okay. We kind of ended our breakout group just for time because we're going a little bit over time. It's 2 o'clock. So
Yeah, we're still doing like the voting because there were supposed to be some collaborations. So we're just gonna try to
I think we're getting there.
yeah, we have like one. Yeah, we have like one episode. So I think we can carry on with this session.
sorry, Claire, I can't hear you. Are you able to speak a little bit louder or change your mic audio?
I'm with Claire.
Yes, I can.
You're low, but
You're a little quiet.
Yeah, it's clear but low.
Okay, not sure if I can shout. Is this better? Speaking a little bit louder.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I was just saying like we are pretty close to finishing the voting anyway, so we can come back next week. I mean not this week, tomorrow. For section 2 to finish working on the prioritizing the matrix for group group 2. How was group 1? How did you guys do?
Yeah, so we kind of shortlisted some of the best sticky notes and started grouping them into different areas. So we didn't group everything. Some of the ideas that we didn't think were the greatest, we just kind of left it behind and we just focused on the best ones. Understandably, this activity is a little bit hard to do with like very little time, and apologies that like butter didn't really work out the way it was expected. However, what we could do to help our breakup group 2 is me and Claire, we could actually help prioritize which sticky notes we think is the best, as well as organizing them on a basis of whether it addresses the persona's goals and also their frustrations. That way, for tomorrow, you guys can reference this mural board and figure out as a team, once you start wireframing and prototyping, like what features you can actually include into your wireframes. Hopefully that makes sense. Apologies if things didn't work out. But thanks for doing this with us, and your ideas have been super valuable and super insightful. Without further ado, let's just jump to assigning teams and wrapping up. So right now we have everyone in group A and group B already decided. So I'm just gonna copy and paste the names for group 1, and I'm gonna put them into team A. And Claire, you could do that for your participants as well. Just copy and paste their names and put them into group B. This way it's nice and simple. The same people that you collaborated with in our breakout session today, you're going to be working with them again tomorrow for Crazy 8 sketching. So just so you guys know, when you are going to be developing wireframes is after we do the Crazy 8 sketching tomorrow. So Crazy 8 sketching is going to help you to first draft out some very brief and very vague ideas, and once you have done that, you'll be working on a hi-fi prototype or a hi-fi wireframes to show and also demonstrate your solution to our guest professional next Saturday. So for those of you that are kind of a little bit lost on that, like how do you make these wireframes, like what's it like, we have some videos actually on the frames to the right side. So if you kind of follow my cursor, sorry to drag you out here, but I'm just showing you where these videos are. We have some tutorials on how to wireframe and prototype on Figma, as well as we have some in-depth lessons on how to do that, from taking your wireframe from a lo-fi stage to a hi-fi stage. So just keep in mind that we have these videos here if you want to learn how to do these things if you don't have that experience. But for the next time, tomorrow, we're going to be in the same room, same session. We're going to be meeting in the part 2 area, and we're going to do some user journey mapping and Crazy 8s. Does anyone have any questions so far about what we're doing? seems like Kat has a question.
Will you
Oh, I'm
share
sorry.
the mirror link or?
Mm-hmm. Sorry, can you
Okay.
say that again?
Will you share the mirror link?
Yes, we will. We'll send it
Okay.
to you in an email, and I
Okay.
will share the mural link right now, actually, so that you guys have a copy of it. Just give me a moment. And also, before the end of this session, if you can, please, please, please give us some feedback. We have a feedback link that's actually, let me show you where it is. I'm just jumping across different screens right now, so please forgive me. Okay, cool. So right here we have a slide that says feedback. There's a little call to action button that's red and it says click here to give feedback. It just takes like less than a minute. We would like to know from you whether this kind of experience was helpful for you, and also if there's different ways that we can help you, just let us know what we could also do better, because we're also trying to improve. And just like UX researchers, we're also interested about your experience in kind of like being part of these events. If there's something that is unaddressed, like a frustration or a roadblock for you, let us know and we would love to like address that for you. Actually, the another thing to mention is the feedback is anonymous, so you don't have to share your name or anything like that. Or if you would like to, you could also opt in to either share your first name and your career or your job title, so that your testimonial could be shown on our website as well. It kind of helps us to show how useful and effective we are to the community, so that more people can see that we're actually doing great things for you guys. Alrighty, so if you need help finding that link, let me just copy and paste it so that it's a little bit easier for you to find. Claire has actually gone ahead and posted a link to the mural board. Make sure that you like bookmark it, save it, and that's it. That's it for this session. Thanks for being here, guys, and if you guys haven't been a donator yet, please consider doing that as well. And yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow.
Can I ask one quick question? Sorry.
Yeah, sure.
So for the wireframes and the like hi-fi mock-ups
Mhm.
that we're going to be doing, are we working on like one collaborative file within our teams, or are we making our own?
So you're going to be working collaboratively. So you could either design like either 4 to 5 different wireframes for your final presentation. How you choose to work together is totally up to you. We could send you guys some documents on how to present together as a team, as a bit of a guidance or a guideline. But when it comes to the amount of work that you do, it's kind of like determined based on how you guys want to best collaborate together. We've seen people do it in the past where everyone kind of worked on their own wireframes, and other teams, they're a little bit more dynamic. They actually work together and they build different parts of the screen together. So that's just a bit of of advice that we have for you, is to communicate with your team. Make sure that you guys, by the way, if you're on team A or team B, try to get connected to each other on Discord, through email, whatever it is right now, so that for the next day and also the next week of presentations, you guys kind of communicate together and work on the wireframes together as well. Okay, it seems like Sarah and Kat are typing something, so we'll wait. Okay, cool. So with that being said, I know that we're a little bit over time and we really don't want to rush you. If you guys are on Discord, definitely get connected together on Discord, email each other, and don't lose contact with each other. If you don't get contact with each other today, we'll meet up again tomorrow at the same time, and we'll have another opportunity to get connected. But we're gonna have to close this room, so we're gonna give you guys like 2 minutes, and then we're gonna have to end this session. So don't forget to fill out that feedback form, and we'll see you tomorrow. Okay, I'm gonna close the room now, guys. If possible, definitely reconnect on the Discord server. Feel free to use the designers talk chat or general chat to continue the conversation further. I'm gonna close the room now. Thank you. Have a good day, guys.